are these people?
I wanted to call attention to, and I did a whole big segment Sunday night with Reef about and railing about how the corporate media is lying and gullible and desperate for a win and to report a win for any workers, but specifically auto workers and the UAW against the auto manufacturers. And this is, and I'm going to call these guys out now. This is the Opt Out News app, and I had a lot of hope when they first came out. They came out right about the same time that I started Independent Left News, and I made a website. They made a website. They focused on making an app, and it was headed by Walker Bragman and some other guy, Alex Koch, I believe it was. And they amplified a lot of the same organizations and shitlib papers that I used to early on. And I found that I was kind of moving away from that group. And this is kind of the group now that I am halfway out the door of, and seeing the way that they're covering this strike further pushes me away from them. So first is the Real News Network that is talking about and apologizing for the stand-up strike, not apologizing for it, but trying to explain the strategy and the reasoning behind the 90-year-old tactic that was used, that hadn't been used in 90 years. Nobody ever asked why it stopped being used, but that I digress there. You got the American Prospect, David Day, and they do some really good kind of nerd egghead work once in a while. They'll look into the numbers, but again, shitlib apologia, very much so. Squad level stuff. Hopeful that Democrats are better than Republicans. That's the one thing that all of these four publications that are independent, they all lean to the fact that they think that Democrats are better than Republicans, and they're not. They're just not. And stop doing it, because you are the reason why we can't have good things. If you guys would get on board and realize that they're just as bad as the Republicans that you claim that they're fighting against, well, we would start to actually seeing good things happening. But they just, I don't know if they're following the money or if they just, I don't know. But in these times as well, a worthwhile piece about, and they get things right occasionally, just often enough that people will still plug into them. Status Quo also, same type of thing. Showing up on the front lines, talking to striking auto workers, and then giving a tongue-bathing interview to Sean Fain. And acting like you're his PR agent. Bro.
That's kind of the strategy, though. It's always lesser evilism. It's
Luigi
always
Morris over at Left Voice is hardcore. Who's the guy that I was also thinking about? That Luis Felice Leon over at Labor Notes. He's been doing Apologia for the bosses, it feels like, for the last month, and gaslighting and making it act like it's all for the workers. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off there.
Won't somebody please? Oh, I totally forgot what I was saying. Won't somebody please think of the CEOs? That's all I read with so many of these articles. It's just like, even if they're pretending it's for the workers, it's like, well, we also have to consider like the people that don't do work and just kind of make the decisions.
Right. Well,
so fucking goofy. So
and on
clownish.
This note, there was a guy. Now, this guy, Joe Mayall, Joe wrote. He actually writes for Jacobin, believe it or not. But I like him. I hope you like Charts and Arithmetic. And this is a long piece, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But I love his headline, which is that the big three automakers could accept every UAW demand and still be extremely profitable. And he's got the math and everything to prove it in here. What are the UAW demands? Well, here they are. They want a 36% pay increase. Now, remember we saw that Kaiser, the nurses are looking for 3% a year. 3%, 3%, 2%, 2%. These guys want 36%.
The problem is, it's not about still being profitable. It's that we're at a point where it's like, okay, but they would be less profitable. And that's all they care about. It's just like, oh, well, we wouldn't be as profitable. And because all of our roles essentially kind of hinge on how much surplus value we can extract from the working class and pay them as little as humanly possible, then even if we can take what's technically a huge W, we're not going to fucking take it, and fuck you, because we can take a bigger W if we just shut them all out and expend as much resources as possible to just continue with the status quo.
That's it. The status quo. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
So 32-hour work week, that's a big one. I have a feeling they're going to end up having to negotiate that one away. But if they can get 30%, 40-hour work week, cost of living increase of 2% or whatever per year, which match their wages to inflation, because if they need to increase for inflation, that's fair. Otherwise, you're losing ground every year. Pensions for every employee reinstated and starting to do that again and ending to the two-tier wage system. That's all they want. And it's not really that bad, but like he says, while auto executives are trying to make these requests sound unreasonable and sure to hurt the economy, the numbers show that they can afford everything the workers have asked for. Go figure.
It's going to hurt the economy. Whenever you hear it's going to hurt the economy, all that means is it's going to result in capitalists being able to buy one less yacht per year.
A
That's
reduction in
hurting
corporate
the
profit.
economy. When they refer to the economy, it's never, and this is across the board, especially when Trump bragged about the economy. When they refer to the economy, they're not referring to the working, like the living conditions of you or me. That's not who they're referring to. When they refer to the economy, they're referring to how well it's going for the business class, the owner class. That's what they refer to as the economy, because they think, oh, well, these are the people that create jobs and wealth and give us all these awesome things, which is the biggest fucking lie under this pyramid scheme of an economic system we're forced to endure.
So this is a chart that they put up showing the real average hourly work earnings for production for non-supervisory workers. This is for the actual worker class.
Mm-hmm.
And showing that for parts and for vehicle and parts workers, it's 10% drop in real wages. For vehicle manufacturing, it is almost a 20% over real wages because they only get to negotiate every 5 years. Here's how they achieved more than $250 billion in profits over the past decade between the three of them. And that they, again, can't afford to do this. Here are the forecasted big three profits. Factoring in the demands, they would still end up with over $100 billion in profits over those 10 years. That's still pretty nice, right? He's got other charts. Joe brings it. Joe has some good stuff. So not all Jacobin is horrible, but I'm glad he doesn't put this on Jacobin and he puts this on his Substack. Joe wrote, and you can $15 a year. You can support him and become a paid subscriber. At some point, I will upgrade because I think that he does some really good work.
Yeah, this was dope.
Yeah,
I'm feeling this.
Right.